All right, guys, I think we can get going. I hope you guys are all well, and for those in SA, I hope you had a nice, well, I hope you got a long weekend and had a nice day off yesterday. All right, so as you guys know, we're obviously discussing Learning Unit 2 and 3 tonight. I know a lot of you were worried about the fact that you had to do 2 learning units this week as opposed to 1, or the fact that in other modules you get multiple weeks per learning unit. And that is the one unfortunate thing with the way JRNS is structured, is that there are a lot of learning units, and it does mean that with our NSS sessions, we do have to cover 1 a week. All right, so I am sorry about that. It is just the way the module is structured, but I just want to reiterate what I said to you guys in our WhatsApp group and on the announcements. Remember that this is not a theory module. It's not like psych or comms. It is not about the intricacies. Oh, yes, Kara, I am, which doesn't help me replying. You can't see that. I mean, you can't hear it, not see it. Okay. Let me just help out. Log out and back in. All right. So because this isn't a theory module, there is obviously theory, especially the first couple of learning units, but the focus is also on your writing itself. So while the assignment is theoretical, and we're asking you theory-based questions on the South African landscape and yada yada, and I will go into that during our NSS, the rest of and the focus of your POE is on the practical stuff. So when it's like when you're doing the section on, for example, interviews and the chapter on interviews, it's not about you being able to tell me how to conduct a good interview. It's the fact that you guys are going to conduct an interview or 2. So it's about being able to put the principles in the books into practice. So it's not about you explaining to me the theory behind writing a magazine story. You will actually write the magazine story. So when you are working through the material, please just think about how this all works in terms of the application side of things. So after today, so tonight we'll focus on Learning Unit 2 and 3, which is still looking at theory. And then from this week onwards, look at things and how it would apply in terms of the practical nature of journalism. So researching, yes, exactly. Understand and apply. So it's about the researching, it's about conducting interviews, it's about putting your words in a logical manner using the different approaches, being inverted pyramid and so on and so forth. So don't focus on the nitty-gritty. And I know that sounds weird coming from your tutor, but it's that I don't want you to be sitting there making, spending hours making notes when that is not what you need to be worrying about. I would rather you be spending time reading good pieces of journalistic writing. I'd rather you be, studying how people put together pieces of writing that you find interesting. It's really about that application side, and that's where the majority of your marks for this module will come from. Okay. So before I get into speaking about Learning Unit 2 and 3, I want to know if there's any questions on anything at all before I get into things my side. So is there anything that you want clarity on or not sure of? Just to also repeat that all ICE tasks, I'm very sorry if you can hear my chickens shouting at me in the background, and I know that is the most weird and odd thing for your tutor to say, but I've got 2 broody chickens sitting in the room with me on eggs. Okay. I must go for it. You can ask me now about the font and layout. So what would I prefer? Okay, so in terms of your font and your font size and spacing and all that, it needs to be either Times New Roman, Calibri, Arial, one of the plain fonts, and it can be anywhere from size 10 to 12, I don't mind. 11, 12 is generally the preferred size. In your documents, it does say size 12. If you prefer the look of size 11, I really will not mark you down on that. The one thing you guys do have to do when you start working on it is please, 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 I cannot stress this enough, 1.5 line spacing. I need that 1.5 line spacing to be able to comment and to be able to mark your work effectively. When you don't have that line spacing, I don't have the space to give you guys any feedback. And if you don't give me that 1.5 line spacing, then I just won't give you the feedback. And also no borders. I know that's random, but again, it's about the space we need for commenting. So if you put a border around your page, it cuts into where I can actually write and talk to you guys. Contents pages are not a requirement, as in it is not a thing that I give you marks for, but it is recommended, because when we have the contents page, if something goes missing, we know that it's there. So we can know that there's been some disconnect somewhere. Yes, you should always submit as PDF. So I mark personally on VC Learn. I know lecturers like Doug print out all their stuff and then upload it later. But in terms of formatting and stuff, it is much better to put it in Word, because if you put it, as a PDF, I repeat, put it as a PDF, because if you put it as Word, what happens is it doesn't read all your formatting correctly, and then it means that stuff can get shifted around. So if you're wanting to lay something out, you know, in a particular way or what have you, that layout then can actually fall away. So PDF is preferred. All right. And that's for your POE as well as your part. One reference list at the end of your assessments, please. I don't need reference lists throughout. Yeah. Any other questions with regards to that? I know some of you are already starting to work on it. Our next collab will be our NSS, so I will be going through the part and each element of it in our next collab. Any other questions at all? As far as refs goes, the MO use Edge as a reference. No, Amanda, you actually do use Edge, because, so what you guys might have noticed is my name is there. So I was one of the authors in the book, and we don't get recognized for the work. So you'll notice on the front, it's not that we get recognized as the authors. Who is recognized is actually Edge. So the correct referencing for this is Edge, all capital letters, or Edge Education. But in the past, I have had students that go by the author's surnames. I don't mark you down for it, because in terms of traditional academic referencing, that would be correct. It's just that Edge works a little differently to the other publications. Can we go back at most 10 years, or can we go back further? So almost for the part, you can go as far back as apartheid. It will be only for your POE where it needs to be on relevant topics that are now, but because it is looking at apartheid, you can 100% go all the way back to the 1940s. Will you start making the ICE tasks before the final date? So Yolandi, how I have worked over the years is that, well, and also how the online space is that we technically are meant to give you guys every opportunity to submit ICE. So the reason why I don't mark the ICE through the semester is that it puts added pressure on, which is always problematic. If you are concerned about anything or not sure about something, you're welcome to WhatsApp me. You can send me a screenshot of your work, just because often I don't have the time until much later to go into VC Learn, and then I can have a look over it and tell you if you're on the right track or not. But in terms of the tasks for ICE purposes, I'll be marking them on the 16th of May. Okay. Yes, Lou, that's correct. That's the Edge, that's the principles and practice, and then there's from craft to concept. Another chance. I worry about not getting another chance if I don't get the full marks for ICE. What do you mean, Lou? Another chance for what exactly? As long as you submit 4 ICE tasks, and those ICE tasks are of decent quality, you will get your marks. I see what you mean. Yeah, so the thing is that you can submit more than the 4 ICE tasks. If one is really way off track and you've submitted other ICE tasks, I will still mark that. So if you are worried about the full 10%, then I would recommend doing more than the 4, which, as I said to you guys in our first lecture, I would recommend doing anyway, because those activities are all helpful towards your studies. All right. So, Yolandi, I understand that some tutors allow that. For my modules specifically, because of the POE nature and because of the way the assessments work, I don't find that works. Yeah, it hasn't helped my students in the past, and I've lectured these modules since their inception. I was the one who actually developed the modules and set them. So that's why I'm using my year's experience in this. So we don't get another go to make corrections then. No, because you get your marks based on submission and decent quality. So it's not that you get 3 out of 10 or 5 out of 10 or 6 out of 10. You get 10 out of 10 for each well submitted ICE task. Mostly tricky and quite time consuming. Yeah, so some of them are shorter than others. So just have a look through them and see which ones work within your time frame. All right. Any other questions, guys? Then take me out. The infographics. Yeah, I understand that for some they are more time consuming. That's why I did set the other ICE tasks as well. So for those who are battling or that it's just too time consuming, you can select a different ICE task. No, Amanda, we still don't have any final due dates yet. Trust me, I am just as anxious as you to get those, but we have not been given them. Old pin? No, there's no such thing as an old person syndrome. Rubbish. It's just how some people's brains work and others don't. Okay. Some people's brains work well when it comes to infographics and graphics and all that kind of thing. For some people, it's just not their cup of tea. And see, Lou, that's the most important thing. Learning is really important. I know I'm a student myself now for the first time in 10 years. And it's tricky going back after so long. So I get you. Would our in-text reference include the author's name or should we reference age? So Kayla, yes, you do. You don't reference the author's names. So I was mentioning it earlier is that you do reference age. So the way that they work is you as the author don't get the credit for your work, as it were. You don't know which authors wrote which chapters and so on. So you do reference age as someone listed above. Lou, 40 years here. Hey, at least you're doing it. I completely agree. It is literally never too old to study. Okay, indeed. Infographics can be time consuming, being the artist perfectionist. I totally get it. Yes, almost so it would be Edge. I think it was Lou that posted it earlier. Yes, I'm just going to copy and paste it again. So, like that. Yes, there we go. All right. It helps with the word. Yeah, it does help with word count. Guys, I am lenient when it comes to word count. If it is relevant information, if it's waffling, then obviously it works against you. But I don't. I'm not as strict as some of your other tutors. If there's a battle to find collab links and other important information one. Oh, Cassidy, I'm so sorry. Which group are you in? Because if you have a look at the the first announcement for all the modules, for all the groups, sorry, there is an announcement there with a WhatsApp group, with the OneDrive link, with there's the YouTube link. There's absolutely everything linked there. Leodora, I totally get that. Okay, Cassie, which group are you in? Yolandi, yes, I do go with about a 10% leeway. Sorry, that noise was not you. That was me getting very irritated because my laptop's kicked me out of my WhatsApp, and I want to send the link for the WhatsApp group. How frustrating. Okay. Link devices. Sorry, I'm linking the device so that I can get the Collab link. There we go. I'm not entirely sure at the moment, so I can't check at the moment. Okay. All right, don't worry. I'm getting on thing now, and I will put the WhatsApp link there. And then I totally understand. Sorry, I don't like any of my students ever feeling like they are in the dark. So let me just give you the link, and then we'll be able to go for it. Okay, there is the WhatsApp link. And what you must just do is there we go. All right. So just you might just need to click on the more announcements, and you should be able to find the past announcements, which will have the link to everything. And in the WhatsApp group, you'll see that in the top in the description, there's a link to the Collab. There's a link to the YouTube channel for all our recordings, as well as a link to the OneDrive where all my notes and any additional material that I need you guys to have, everything's there. Yes, on VC Learn, Cassidy. So if you go to more announcements. So it just, I don't know which group you're in, just with having the 3 groups. So yeah, okay. So I'm glad you found your way to us tonight. So well done. I know how it feels when it's a bit, yeah. Right. Okay, guys, let's get going. We might run 10 minutes over just to make sure everyone's okay with learning unit 2 and 3 tonight. But tonight is the time to ask the questions. I'm here to help and just to go through the most important things of what I feel that is important for you guys to be aware of, and what to look out for, and what is going to be important in terms of your writing and so on. So the first thing you might have seen for those who worked through the notes is there's the 5 values of a journalist. And it's just something, so I'm not going through every little bit of detail tonight, but just to give you guys a bit of context, I want you to think about what the journalism industry is all about. And when we are thinking about the journalism industry, we have to think about how journalists act as gatekeepers. So every bit of information, like I said to you guys in our last collab, everything we get is from the media. They are the ones gathering the information, crafting the message, and sending out that information to us. So they're actually the gatekeepers of information. They are the ones disseminating the news. And the thing is that they are the ones deciding what is newsworthy and what isn't. And what's really important to take into consideration is that even though these people are the ones thinking what is, the most important stories of the day, that isn't necessarily the case, and sometimes isn't true. And what is deemed to be of relevance or what is important for some is not necessarily important for others. So when we are working through this, and when you're working through your content, just be aware that when you are thinking about journalism, think about everything with a pinch of salt. That they do have the power to influence the way we think, and they do have the power to actually make a story seem less important than it actually is. Okay. All right, cool. See, we support each other. I'm just seeing with the sharing the links and the groups and everything. Okay. We're a team, guys. That's the only way we survive in this world of studying and world of academics. All right. So the other thing is, when you guys are doing your writing, this is so, so important, is you've got to try and keep some form of objectivity. Now, I know this is a big debate within the media industry, saying that objectivity doesn't exist, that we never are objective. And to a certain degree, that's true. We have levels of objectivity. And I know that sounds bizarre because, you know, if you're objective, you are showing equal sides of the story and all that, but it's not always possible to be completely objective. You can't go and interview every single person that saw the scene and, you know, give their insight into what's going on. Your personal views do filter down into your writing in some way, shape, or form. But now this is the key thing. You've got to try and put as much of your own views and your own thoughts aside for this semester. Besides when we're doing opinion writing. When you're doing opinion writing, your views, your perspective and all that is allowed to be shown. But for your other pieces of journalistic writing you've got to do for me, you've got to remain objective. And how we do that is through balance of information. So even if you are writing a story that is showing the ANC, for example, in a negative light, you still need to have something in that story that gives them the opportunity to show their side or voice their side. You never go and write a story with only one side of the story being shown. That is bad journalism. And the sad reality is we see a lot of pieces like this where journalists don't show equal sides and their bias is very clear. But you guys, and what I'm expecting of you is objectivity. I'm expecting you guys to research. I'm expecting you to find balance in your work because you know better. All right? And you know better because I'm telling you that you will remain objective. So if you guys are writing a story on why South Africa is falling to pieces, yes, show me the evidence, show me the information, but you've also got to show me how people are trying to fix our broken country, or how we, you know, they are doing steps to fix load shedding, even though it is years in the making. You've got to show balance, right? Does everyone understand that? Have you heard me loud and clear that I want objectivity?
Loud and clear.
Thanks, Stefan. Okay. Then, like I say, when it comes to opinion writing, we will shake things up, all right? And for those of you that do NCTE and are going to do Journ 3 with me, you're going to shake it up even more, all right? But for now, we remain objective, all right? The other thing is that journalists have got to be autonomous. So even though a publication has a certain perspective or support a certain political party or whatever it may be, journalists have got to be able to stand on their own 2 feet because it's their reputation at the end of the day. Yes, they work for a publication, but who they work for can change. What matters is that they've got to stand their own ground, and this relates very much to Learning Unit 3, looking at the ethics. We've got to make sure that, above all else, a journalist acts in the most ethical manner that is possible. And everyone's ethics will be called into question at times. That is the sad reality of society. And, you know, you have to decide what ethically you feel you can do to keep your own moral compass pointing north. Okay. The other thing is that we've got to have a sense of immediacy and ethics. All right, so we're going to get into ethics tonight. That's the main focus of tonight. But the reality is that media does not work, oh, well, I'll do it now, in true South African style. You know, now, just now. We have our own time. But if you go and leave something till later, it means someone else is going to cover that story before you. And that often then, again, brings in the ethics question because, you know, are you being ethical if you're reporting on the story as soon as you have that information, or are you being ethical by waiting to gather more information before releasing the story? We never know. It's all down to experience, and it's all down to trying to assess what is the best situation in a given scenario. So what is ethical or what is okay to do in one situation might not be in another. So you've got to find that balance, and you've got to be able to find the tipping point and know that you are doing what you think is the best, because again, you are the one that'll be up for the lawsuits and the questions and what have you. So always try and act in the best possible way. All right. Does that make sense to everyone? So immediacy and ethics are the two. That's what counts to the 5. All right. Then the other thing that I really want you to take from this particular learning unit is the different genres. All right. So can you guys tell me, from reading the notes and reading the textbook and everything, what genres do you gravitate towards? What types of stories do you guys like to read? Yes, Kirsten, that's a very good way by putting it. All right, so we've got some sport. So Cheryl, do you like technology-based stories, or the fact that you read it from a digital thing? Investigative, cool. I also find those stories very interesting. Politics. Okay, so you're reading digitally. Okay, perfect. But then what kinds of stories do you like to read? Environmental. Yeah, I love seeing my environmental people. War, investigative. All right. Innovation, cool. That's a good one, Jade. Food, I'm so with you. I'm a big foodie person. Business, awesome. Okay. So Lou, that's a really good point. That hook in that lead, and you guys read about the hooks and leads in a later learning unit. That is really what draws you in. See, you like Citizen Journ, awesome. Okay, that's something that we're also going to learn. Done the hook and lead, awesome. Look at you screaming ahead there, Lou. All right, so now this is the thing, is that so in the book they refer to them as genres. You can also call them beats, okay? So that's also an old school terminology for the different types of writing on the different subjects that interest society. 12 out of 16 tasks done. Wow, that's impressive. Art, comics, photography. Good, Stefan. So there's also, there's your photojournalism stuff. Yeah, I'm with you, Lou. So the thing is that every single aspect of journalism that is written falls into different genres, okay? But sometimes there's crossover. So it can be on politics and business. It can be on entertainment and current events. So I'm a weird millennial. I'm a millennial with ADHD, so I like TikTok. So for me at the moment, all over my stream has been Taylor Swift's concert. And that's, everyone goes, oh, well, it's just another celebrity and all that. But actually, the drama that happened around all the ticketing, the ticket pricing, the celebrity status, the fashion behind it. Her costumes are designed by people like Oscar de la Renta, Louis Vuitton shoes. Her costumes are worth a good probably a few $100,000 by the end of the day when you add them all up. Different nights of the tour, she's been wearing different things, and it all adds up. Yes, exactly. 44 songs and more than 16 changes. And with technology and the way that she used tech and special effects and all that, it's actually mind-blowing how an artist or musician has such influence over society. And that is its own genre, but it actually falls more into the economics, the social status. It's about the economics within the states, how you have people paying thousands of dollars for these tickets when some people can't even afford to buy eggs because eggs are so expensive. yeah, so all that behind the scenes stuff. Chantal, I'm so glad I'm not the only millennial that loves TikTok. It's my guilty pleasure when I've been lecturing all day. So yes, Kirst, that's a good one. Gender ideology and debates is really important. Having a child in the education system in junior primary, it's a topic that is, gender, and she's at an all-girls school, and the talks around gender and how LGBTQI stuff is handled within the school. They're all important topics. And the thing is that you can also then have topics like knitting and paper mache and flower arranging and everything. Um, exactly, that is a whole genre in itself. Okay, look at the ASMR stuff that people will listen to videos based on the sounds. It is all aspects of society, and the reality is that our media has to cover all the kinks and all the different fads and trends and everything. And it's important for the media industry to be ahead of these trends. So it's that when we work within our magazines and what have you, those magazines are actually designed months in advance. So if it's say the February Love Valentine's Smushy Stuff edition, that would have probably been developed in October, November the year before. All right. So it's that the media always has to be a few steps ahead to know what genres are trending and are applicable. And they're the ones that set the narrative. They're the ones that determine what we are actually talking about because it's what they are covering. School drama shocks me that I can't stop reading it. Oh, yeah, Grace. Geez, once you start, it never stops. Especially when you think of our Department of Education and the changing of bathrooms and every mother, father, granny, cousin wants to have a say. So you guys now have got to start thinking about these genres because you're going to be doing your own writing and you have to choose within your POE a couple of different genres that you find interesting. So whether it be travel, whether it be community, whether it be politics, business, whatever it may be. So they do like limit you in terms of the different genres, just to give you guys a bit of focus, because we know if we get given an endless list of options, we end up going into work paralysis because we have too many options in front of us. But you guys have got to start thinking about the genres that interest you. Can you stomach the pimping pop the pictures? Oh, definitely. I can watch those videos for hours, chasing sensations and trends that sometimes make headlines instead of real life problems. So, yeah, I completely agree with that. Exactly. The Selena, Justin, Haley, and then the who's unfollowing this one and who's, what's it? Haley has actually been mocking Selena and all these videos. It's just understand. So gender ideology gender is its own genre. So LGBTQI plus is its own genre. So that whole thing in terms of the ideologies and the viewpoints and all that, that would actually fall under its own genre. I mean, there's whole magazines dedicated to it. There are websites dedicated to it, streaming platforms, everything. Okay, loving the drama. The thing is that we are twisted. I always think of Grey's Anatomy and Meredith Grey and Christina Yang with the dark and twisted sisters. And to me, that just represents society. We are dark and twisted. That's how we actually how we engage with one another. We like the drama. We like the sensationalism. If we didn't, we wouldn't have stories based on it. So you'd mud. Okay. Yeah, the Kardashians are a whole genre, but you know what? Kardashians are so intriguing because the fact that they are so many years later still within the public eye, still seem seen as important. The fact that they still have channels on Disney Plus after Keeping Up with the Kardashians crashed, and like the money behind them and all that, it's actually such an interesting whole thing in itself. And I don't watch the Kardashians. I've never watched like full episodes of the Kardashians, but you could literally write a whole thesis on them and their influence within media and how they've used the media to their benefit. Like they have really worked the media. Yeah, Cheryl, 100%. But the thing is, you guys can't stomach them, but you know who they are. You know who has a makeup line, which one has a what's it, skin skims, the which one has the Spanx stuff. You know all of it. You know the drama, even if you don't like them. You still know the drama behind them. And all because of a sex tape. That's what's amazing. Chemo, well, trying to exactly 100%. It's sickening. My daughter watches it, but it's like a train wreck. Yeah, exactly. You can't not watch it because you just look at them and you go, how do you have multi-billion-dollar businesses within the industry? It's frightening. Right. So this is the thing. You guys have got to start thinking about genres. And what I want to challenge you guys over the next couple of weeks, start reading outside of your own genre comfort zone. Start reading some entertainment if you don't read it. Start reading some business, even if it's not your thing, because we end up being very blinkered. So the one thing with all these algorithms, which is insanely infuriating, is that the algorithm is designed on all the websites, on the social medias and all that. The algorithm is designed to work with what you like because they're trying to people please. What that means is then we end up leaving out major aspects of society. So, like I said, on my TikTok at the moment, it's been Taylor Swift, and because I am the weirdo that I am, every other video is about chickens and ducks and this person's, you know, healthy eating on this, and how to do gluten-free and all that, because I have to go gluten-free now. So, and that is what the algorithm is now set to. It means all the other videos that I was watching that was really interesting on 3D printing and other aspects of life have all fallen away, and I have to like force myself to go and find those channels again to make sure they stay on my feed. Yes, exactly. Those algorithms are toxic when it comes to our media exposure. Yeah, exactly, Grace. Also, mini baby cows, mini baby chicks. Um, oh my gosh, Capybara TikTok. I'm so there with you. 100% there. So this is what you guys have got to do. Deliberately force yourself to go and watch something that is not in your normal genre. And I'm telling you, you'll start finding some genres that you actually like that you didn't realize that you would like them. They're everywhere because they're the happiest little things in this world. They always look so happy and they're friendly with everyone. Sorry. See, weird lecturer. What are those? Okay, so go and Google capybara. I will put one on our WhatsApp group while we're talking. They are these. They look like a big, and I mean big, hamster. Um, they are very weird creatures. There we go. Share a tip, TikTok. They're known as the world's friendliest um, animals because they will literally go and cuddle up to a crocodile type thing. They are so funny. They like, I don't know, guinea pig crossed a hamster cross a something. Okay. Guys, I know our WhatsApp group is blowing up. I will look at them all once our collab is done. Okay. Yes, with the hippo nose. All the way. Okay. Oh, the Maori TikTok is so interesting. So interesting. And again, media exposure. So what's his face? The guy from Riverdale, Archie in Riverdale. So he's Maori and he's become a chief. And he actually used his celebrity status to get more exposure. And he put his whole chief thing up on TikTok, showing him getting his tattoos and the whole ceremony and all that, trying to get more understanding into the culture because it is such an unknown culture. Right. You don't have social media, Justin. Yeah, social media is amazing, and it's also a devil at the same time. So it's one of those tricky ones. Yeah, but YouTube has got all the same stuff, hey? Yeah, also sometimes I do wish when I see my thing and says you've watched this for 1 hour this week, I'm going, oh oops. Yeah. See, the more that we can learn about different cultures, the better we understand what is going on around us. So that's why it's so important. But you guys are welcome to share cute videos and TikToks on animals on our WhatsApp group anytime. Right. I want us to move on to learning unit 3, just looking at ethics. Now, I know you guys are doing media law and ethics. I know this is not a topic that is unknown to you guys, but I just want to do it in terms of JRN and to make sure that I've gone through some principles with you because you need it also for your part. All right. So we need to define ethics. All right. So it's our moral principles that govern a person's behavior or the conducting of an activity. All right. So the reality is that everyone's ethics are different. So I'll give you an example. I am completely against drinking and driving. I will not drink and drive. I will not let my husband drink and drive. It is the worst possible thing to me personally. All right. But I have someone who I consider basically family. He's my best friend, and he has got no problem with drinking and driving whatsoever. And he will do it frequently. But he knows he's not allowed doing it from my house because that's just the rule that we've established. Our ethics are very different when it comes to this because I feel that it's not fair that he endangers others and he feels that he's only endangering himself, so it's his choice. And you can have an ethical debate on this, on vaccinations, especially if those of you that are parents, especially parents today with the anti-vaxxing trend, and there's a resurgence of measles and stuff at the moment because of people not vaccinating. I know vaccinations became a hot topic during COVID, whether it's that, whether it's the death penalty, whether alcohol should be consumed or not. Every single topic that is in existence today has people that are for or against that topic, whether it be backyard animal keeping, whether it be the fact that people should or shouldn't study. It doesn't matter what the topic is. We all have our different views and we all have our own ethical viewpoint. What do you think for you guys? What aspects of your life do you think have influenced your ethics in the way that you see the world today? Sorry, I'm seeing what you're writing now, Stefan. I like exploring different forms of art and start cooking almost every day from about 2.5. Enjoying it, that cooking is its own form of art. That's awesome. Yeah. You should go onto ChatGPT and ask it to pull up some recipes for you. It's interesting to see what it pulls up, what it thinks is edible, which isn't actually the greatest. Where is it? Okay, so Matosa, so it is against the law, but the thing is that again, laws are one group of people's ethical standpoint. So for you, do you ever speed? Do you ever go above the speed limit? Because then it's the question of should you go against this, should you ever go over the speed limit? For some people, ethically, they don't feel it's right, where others, they don't mind going 140 because they feel safe driving at driving at that speed. Okay, so GPT. Sorry, with my dyslexia, I always say it wrong, so I'm just careful. It's the AI site that basically can do everything. Can write academic essays, can come up with lesson plans. It can tell you, you can give it like a theory, and it can tell you absolutely everything about that theory. It's basically all the knowledge of the world in one app. And it is absolutely incredible and amazing when used correctly. And it's going to be absolutely terrifying when it's used incorrectly in terms of academics. Because it's all well and good saying, okay, well, it's written the essay for me, but you actually have no understanding of what that essay actually contains because you don't actually have the academic grounding to support it. Okay. It's not a robot, it's an AI software, so artificial intelligence software. And basically, they've inputted all the data from around the world. It's still not 100% up to date, they're getting there, but it will, and it can basically answer all questions. It's scary for academia, but at the same time, it can be absolutely incredible. I'm busy working on an activity for my BEd students, looking at how it can actually be more damaging in the education space if not done correctly. It's very polite. Yeah, it is. It can be a very useful tool. It can be used so well. I think when people get over the hype and the panic and everything, I think it's going to be something that is going to help society rather than hinder it. But again, the ethics. If you are using ChatGPT rather than writing the essay yourself, is that not unethical? What if you know the writing, you know the content and you understand it, but you want to use the software because maybe you're not very good at essay writing and you don't have the time to perfect it? It's a controversial topic right now. Don't like it, but on the other hand, I see people enjoying it. Yeah, that is at 100%. Started using it in class, but still requires human element to show individual understanding. Yes, exactly. So that is what I am showing my BEd students, and they're in their second year. And yes, get to write your lesson plan, sure, but now go and teach that lesson plan. But now, it's where is it acceptable to use it? It's going to be interesting, and it's an ethical thing that we need to consider. But what I need you guys to be aware of when it comes to the ethics is there's the Ethical Journalism Network, and they've got the 5 principles of journalism. That So yes, Aaliyah, that is so Elon Musk is basically backtracking on what he said because he realized that his idea was very flawed in terms of hate speech and discrimination and all of that. So that was why he tried to pull out of buying Twitter, but then he had to go through with it because when you publicly state you're buying a company, they're going to hold you to that verbal agreement. But it's that we, within the journalism framework, have to work by 5 principles. And these principles are the baseline for literally every person who works within journalism. And the thing is that, again, those blurred lines, that is what, pushes people into worrying of or wondering what one person is doing as being ethical versus what isn't ethical to someone else. So these are, the first thing is that you've got to ensure there's truth and accuracy. Every bit of information that you guys are going to be writing for me is based on truth. You're not making a single fact up. And that is because that's what journalism is about. It's about truth. It's about producing accurate information. And that's why things like Twitter, social media, that's why we are so intent in holding people accountable, because we've got so much fake news out there. Oh yeah, almost the AI artwork is absolutely incredible. You cannot tell the difference. He didn't lose a few hundred billion. He 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 basically played the field in terms of what's it called, the Bitcoin and everything and all that. So he did lose money, but for him it's a drop in the ocean. So yes, Kirst, there is going to be laws that are put in place, but the thing is that the laws should have probably been established before AI went out there. But the problem is that we're on the back foot. The AI has come out and we're scrabbling now to keep up with what it can do. This is why we need independence. This is why we need to make sure journalists can stand on their own 2 feet, that they can actually voice their own opinions and not only have things such as AI leading the way. Yeah, exactly. Exactly like that. That vaping for some is fine, but for others, they see it as, you know, death sentence with bubble lung and all that. You've got to make sure that there is fairness and impartiality, and that understand that there are 2 sides to every story. And you need, like I said earlier, you need to have balance. And the reason why we have balance is because we are human. We have to remember that when we're writing about car accidents, deaths, natural disasters, all these kinds of things, we have to remember that we are dealing with humanity, that you cannot write and deal with things like a robot, that what is happening within society is affecting real human beings, and we need to make sure that we always have compassion for those that we are reporting on. So I know my husband, working within the media industry, he was a photographer, and he had to see children that had been killed in car accidents, seeing people looting in the streets. He's seen it all. And what he remembers above all is that that is someone's child, husband, wife, father, and so on. And he always had to act, whenever it was something that was sensitive, he had to act with compassion for the people that could eventually see the photo about their loved ones. Okay. Is being given to ensure that society doesn't divulge into discord. The safety road rules gave, for example, written for a reason. Yeah, it is. But I mean, look at the autobahn in Germany. The autobahn works effectively, and most of the time it has no speed limits. But when the speed limits are enforced, those people follow those laws, and they never question it. They never push it. I just said if you tell whether an image, where's the funniest one? Hands. I almost gotta have a look at that. I haven't actually looked at hands. I've been looking at the fun graphics like of art in a mug and flowers and all that kind of thing. So, okay, I must go have a look at that. And the last thing that I want to just say to you guys is accountability. Every person has to be accountable for their actions. And the reality is that while your ethical standpoint might be different from others, and when I asked earlier about what influences your ethics, it will be, you know, how you were raised, what you were exposed to, what deemed to be acceptable or unacceptable in your household. All those things influence the way that we see and understand our own ethical grounding, whether it's that you go with the way you were raised or go against it. So you need to think about what is deemed to be socially acceptable or ethical to the majority. And when journalists act out or act in an unethical manner, we have to hold them accountable. We have to say what they've said, what they've done is not acceptable. Because that's like when Kobe Bryant was killed in the helicopter accident, and his daughter and all the others. The families found out about their deaths via social media. They did not find out about it from the police and in the correct way. They found out about it by people posting on social media, because people released the story before all the families had been contacted. And to me, that's just absolutely shocking, disgusting, heartbreaking that people had to find out about their loved ones passing via social media, and people going, "I'm so sorry for your loss," and they're like, "What are you talking about?" And those journalists and those media organizations that released it, they were held accountable for their actions and were fired. Yeah, it's terrible, and it happens more often than we know. So many people find out about the death of loved ones through our media rather than through hearing it from someone in the correct way, and it's always in a harsh and horrible way. Yeah, so first responders shared pictures, but it was the media's responsibility to not post those pictures until the families had been notified. So TMZ released the information before the families had been notified. Yeah. And that, yes, they shared on WhatsApp, which obviously doesn't have, they don't have control over that. So it's just absolutely heartbreaking. All right. That's fine. Go for it. Are there any other questions with regards to Learning Unit 3? To me, that is the most important thing. After we've done our not our touch point, sorry, our NSS, we'll also just see if there's any other points that you guys need me to go over with regards to Learning Unit 3 and with Learning Unit 4. But were there any other questions with regards to Learning Unit 3? Just as we wrap up the end of our lecture. Cool. So our next collab will be our NSS, if I remember correctly. So I'm just pulling up the timetable so I can be 100% sure of that with the date. Okay, so our next collab is actually the 8th of March, 22nd, is the 5th of April. So, oh, I have not corrected that. Okay, so our next collab will be our NSS. All right. Sorry, I see that I did not correct that. So I must just update that because we're the 5th of April. It's due the 19th. So I need to see you guys. I need to speak to it before, obviously. All right. Sorry, guys, I was meant to correct that and I did completely forget. So I will definitely make sure we do that. So in our next NSS, we will be covering, in our next collab, we'll be covering the assignment. And then, yes, it's due the 14th. Yes, 14th. So I just need to update that. Oh, I've got the Journ 2's pacer up, not yours. Ha, that's where my mistake is. Okay. So the 5th of April, our next one, yes, will be the NSS. All right. And yeah, we will cover Learning Unit 4 and hopefully Learning Unit 5 as well, because it should only take us about half an hour for the NSS like we did tonight. Okay. So we'll see how time's going. I'll see if I can shift things around a bit just to give you guys a bit of breathing room. But we'll definitely cover the part in the next collab. All right. Okay, guys, thank you so much for all of you joining tonight. I really appreciate it. And I will chat to you guys soon. Bye, everyone.